All right, what's up, everybody? It is Tuesday, April 2nd, 2024. So, yesterday we snatched at Linchpin. We did the Joe Mills workout, which people love. It's a 20-minute EMOM. It has a loading assigned to each minute. It's percentage based, and you creep up. It ends with like 5 minutes of on the minute you attempt to hit a heavy single, whatever feels heavy. People love, I think, being guided through exactly the lifts and percentages to have. But as the title of this episode entails, which is that you hate snatching, or some people hate snatching and they don't want to do it. It's dumb, it's stupid. There are people who, as much as they absolutely adore the Olympic lift days, especially the snatch, there's just as many people on the other side that avoid it at all costs. It doesn't treat them well. They don't understand why we do it. They don't want to do it. They do something else, and that's okay. So we're going to chat about that. And this is all snatching variations. Power snatch, the full snatch, aka the squat snatch, the hang squat snatch, the hang power snatch, whatever you want. So whether it's the Joe Mills that we did yesterday, 7x1, some other sort of EMOM, a 5x5, kind of put them all into that same little bucket there. But we're not Olympic lifters, right? And so why are we doing this to even start the conversation? The barbell snatch, arguably the most complicated lift that you can do on the planet with a barbell. Period. End of story. And when I say complicated, I mean complicated in the best way possible. Complicated meaning extreme development, and it's very taxing of your central nervous system. You have to have your head in the game. Your brain and body are going to be absolutely connected due to the pattern, the sequencing, the whole 9 yards. It's you can't just be on autopilot snatching. So regarding coordination, accuracy, agility, and balance, those neurological components, those things are through the roof. That's wonderful. It has a huge range of motion. We're talking about all the way from the ground to overhead. That's a really good thing also. It's fast and powerful. It's explosive. These are all wonderful things, right? So why doesn't everybody in the world just love snatching all the time? They're great. And those all those things that I mentioned are wonderful and beneficial, and you can get an adaptation from them. Here's the important thing that I don't think a lot of people realize: regardless of the loading on the bar. Okay, you don't have to be snatching 100 kilos to get all those benefits. You could get it with an empty barbell as well. So, wherever you are in your fitness journey, practicing the technique has value. Working on your speed has value. Working on the sequence has value. Whether it's an empty barbell, a light load, a moderate load, it does not need to be super heavy. There's benefit there. So hopefully that removes some of the potential intimidation factor that goes along with the barbell snatch. But as much of an incredible list of accolades as that is, and maybe that's rather evident as to why it's a useful addition to your stable of lifts in your physical fitness program, there are some people that just are just flat out like, no, that's a no-go for me. I'm not snatching. I don't want anything to do with it. Again, like the title of this episode, it hurts. It's stupid. It's dumb. I'm not going to snatch anything in real life. It doesn't feel good. I am not doing it. Cool. No worries. We got something for you. And those people could be feeling that way for any number of reasons. Mobility issues. I mean, if you've got some mobility issues, you're probably not going to be a fan of snatching, especially in anything below parallel. Maybe you can get away with some of the power snatches, but even that might be a little squirrely for you. But the full snatch is probably your mortal enemy and you hate it. So it could be mobility issues in the overhead squat and the receiving position of the snatch. Some people, just the hand placement and that really wide grip just feels awful for them. If you have something going on with your shoulders as well, whether they're internally or externally rotated, how those are treating you, that could be good or bad. And whether or not you see the snatch as your friend or your enemy. And I will say that the this episode is just based upon years of hearing people's interactions, and it's not based upon my feelings personally. I understand why the snatch is so fantastic, but I'm actually one of those people that the snatch does not treat well. Um, just due to military motorcycle wrecks and dumb things that I've done with my body. And so I have to scale or modify often when the snatch comes up, and that's totally cool. But this is something I hear echoed from a lot of people. So hopefully this helps if you happen to fall into that camp of either A, trying to understand why it could be a useful lift, regardless of the load, to put into your training, or if you're going to try to modify it in some way, shape, or form. So if you're one of those people that for whatever reason you just simply choose not to snatch, all hope is not lost. The absolute simplest answer that works for probably 95% of the people out there is if you can just replace exactly what the lift is, but take the word snatch out and put clean and jerk in. So, okay, we're going to squat snatch, full snatch, and that doesn't treat you well. Full clean and jerk. That seems to handle it for 95% of the people for whatever particular reason. It's just their snatch doesn't treat them well. Clean and jerk is great. They got no issues with it, whether it's the split jerk or the push jerk. So if on any particular day that comes up that it's 7x1 squat snatch, it's the Joe Mills workout, it's whatever it happens to be, and you can just go, okay, nope, but I will do that with a clean and jerk variant. I mean, let's be honest. We're not entering Olympic lifting competitions. We're not. We are trying to get the benefits out of a exercise that I mentioned before, explosive power, big range of motion, the neurological components, and you can do that beautifully with the clean and jerk. I mean, there's nothing that you're going to face on planet Earth, zero, that you'd be like, man, I was ill prepared for what I found today, what confronted me in my city that I live, because you know what? Do clean and jerks every time instead of the barbell snatch. Man, my entire fitness game just fell apart. I had nothing. That's a fantasy world that's not going to occur. So if clean and jerking treats you great, then don't worry about the snatch and clean and jerk. It's a power snatch. It's now a power clean and jerk. It's a squat snatch. It's a full clean and jerk. It's a hang squat snatch. It's a hang squat clean followed by a jerk of your choice, the push jerk or the split jerk. Mission accomplished, problem solved, good to go. March into the sunset, fit, fast, and strong, and you are awesome. But let's say that, I don't know, you're bored or you don't want to do the clean and jerk or you don't know that lift yet. What else could you do that isn't just replacing one Olympic lift for another Olympic lift? There are things. Dumbbells are a fantastic option because they give you a little bit more freedom to move about the joints. You get a bit of a wider strike zone. And so there's a lot of people that when snatching comes up, will choose the dumbbell option for Linchpin. We provide multiple options every day. And one of them is the limited equipment option, which is the dumbbell option. And anyone who's done the dumbbell option knows that it's not to be trifled with, that it is a legit, it'll turn you into a fire-breathing monster. And so dumbbells are a great way to do it. They deliver fitness by the truckload. Yesterday, in place of the barbell work, we had dumbbell power snatches and some dumbbell squats done interval style with a set rest between, I think, 5 different intervals. Nobody was shortchanged. And of course, you can choose the dumbbell loading that makes sense for where you are in your fitness journey. But if you've got a pair of 50-pound dumbbells or 35-pound dumbbells or 25-pound dumbbells or whatever laying around, you can get fit. You can develop explosive power. You can do something neurologically challenging. You can get something from the ground to overhead. You can develop below parallel strength, and you don't have to snatch the barbell. And that's something that actually, with my creaky shoulders, as odd as it is, I can do the dumbbell snatches and they treat me really well, even on the days that I start to warm up with the barbell to see if it's going to be in the cards today, and it becomes readily apparent that it's not going to be in the cards. So check out the dumbbell option as well. But let's say that you want yet another option. Okay, you could do kettlebell snatches. Again, once you understand what it is and why we're doing it, what I try to do at Linchpin is hopefully increase everybody's strength and conditioning IQ, and then empower everybody with the freedom to realize that you can deviate from the workout of the day. Now, you can deviate so wildly that you're kind of missing the intended stimulus, but you can deviate with a fair degree of artistic creativity and still preserve the stimulus and the gross movement patterns and be totally good to go. And that's kind of the point of this. As your strength and conditioning IQ develops, You feel empowered and you know that you're authorized to make the best decision for where you are in your fitness journey, how you feel today, how you slept last night, what you have going on with your knees, back, and shoulders. You can look at the workout and go like, okay, we're pulling from the ground today. Got it. And we're pulling from the ground in an explosive manner, right? We're clean and jerking or snatching. It's not in a slower manner like a deadlift, like a power lift. Okay. Oh, and we're going overhead. And oh, I see we're going below parallel. Oh, this is the general volume we're trying to get in. Like, then you can be like, you know what? The regular workout works great for me, or the wild card meets me right where I am, or I'm going to choose the dumbbell or the scaled option. Or you can go, I'm going to tweak this just a little bit because that makes the most sense for me. Awesome. Fitness will be achieved. You will be super, and making those decisions is good for your mind and your body, and it keeps you moving forward in fitness. Those are all great things. And if snatching fits in to your fitness journey, great. You'll get so many benefits from that lift, even regardless of the loading on the bar. But if snatching does not fit into your fitness protocol for whatever reason, you're fine, you will be great, and there are ways to replicate the stimulus. Is kind of the whole point here. So you could kettlebell snatch. Kettlebell snatching is awesome. And maybe just after you do some kettlebell snatches, you get the kettlebell there, right? So, you grab it, you do some goblet squats, you go below parallel. Now you've developed some great explosive hip opening. You pulled something roughly from the hang, locked it out overhead. You got some single arm movement in. That's awesome. And then you did goblet squats, or you lunged with a single kettlebell or whatever it happened to be. You developed some below parallel leg strength. You didn't snatch with a barbell. You did just fine. Life goes on. Box jumps, explosive hip opening. Got a box, do some box jumps. You could do American kettlebell swings, right? I know it's not one arm snatching, but you could do some American kettlebell swings. Great explosive hip opening, big range of motion. And then you could do some below parallel work afterwards. Like I said, either lunging, goblet squats. Maybe you've got a box nearby. You could just hold the kettlebell, do some box step ups. You get limitless options that you're still doing the gross movement patterns, the intended stimulus. Things are great. You could do Russian swings, right? Again, great midline stabilization, posterior chains activated, just like it's going to be if you're snatching. Um, you get a nice, explosive, powerful hip drive to get that bell going. Now you're not going overhead. True. So if you want to go overhead, then after you do some Russian swings, you could do some presses, some presses, some push jerks, either with a barbell, with a kettlebell, with dumbbells, double arm, single arm, whatever you want to do. And then you could do some squatting. You'll be fine. You'll be a beast. You'll be more than fine. Here's what I did yesterday. I quasi preserved the stimulus. I quasi did not preserve the stimulus. So, just as happens so often with life, found myself in a time crunch. Was working all day long, got home, and I was like, okay, I got a couple hours. I can sneak in the workout. This is going to be great. And then my wife reminded me that I had forgotten about some stuff. She's like, you're doing the lawn today, right? And I was like, oh, the lawn. Rain coming tomorrow. Got to knock out the lawn today. Got to do the edging and all the other stuff that I can't stand, but you just have to do to be a good neighbor. And so there went 2 hours of my day that I thought I was going to be in my garage gym. Poof, gone. And by the time I finished that, it was time for me to start dinner. And I was like, ah. And so I said, hey, can you look after Lane, our girl who will be 3 in June? I said, can you look after her? I'm going to walk into the garage, and I promise you, I will walk back in the house in no more than 15 minutes. I will make something happen fitness wise, and it ain't going to be the Joe Mills workout, not snatching, no time to warm up. Today's just a day. She's like, yep, you got it. Go ahead, knock it out. So I walked into the garage, and I'm a type of guy that needs to warm up if I'm going below parallel, if I'm going overhead. So I knew that was off the table. But I'm like, you know what? I can still get in some great posterior chain work. I can get in some great midline stabilization, some great hip opening, and I can just push myself. So I looked around, I saw the 70-pound kettlebell, and just in my mind, real quick, I saw the air runner, and I said, this is it. 4 rounds of a 400-meter run and 25 Russian swings with the 70-pound kettlebell. Again, I've got bad shoulders from the military motorcycle racks, and I don't take a 70-pound bell overhead. I'm not that guy with these shoulders that I have, and didn't have a chance to warm up, so I wasn't going below parallel. Was it ideal? It was not ideal. Do I feel shortchanged? Absolutely not. That was a beast, and as a matter of fact, I grossly underestimated how challenging it was going to be. So I got in 400-meter runs and 100 Russian swings with a 70-pound bell. I was just able to hold on to the bell each round, but for the last 2 rounds, for kettlebell swings 18 through 25 in rounds 3 and 4, I believe I saw the other side. Like I spoke to the Grim Reaper. It was rugged. And I came in, glutes, hamstrings, midline, hip opening, breathing, got my sweat on. I didn't snatch. I'm okay. Not going to an Olympic lifting competition. I did a wonderful functional movement. I preserved a fair amount of the stimulus, not all of it. Realize I didn't go below parallel. Realize I didn't go overhead. I'm okay with it. Life goes on. Fitness was achieved. And allowing myself the freedom to deviate if needed and still get something in, that's what keeps me personally on track. So hopefully everybody realizes that scaling is cool, modifying is cool. Every now and then you play the hand that you're dealt, right? There's a difference between real and ideal. What's ideal? You've got knees, back, and shoulders that never had any accidents in the world, and you got great sleep last night, and you have an uninterrupted time to work out and the gear that you want, and blah, blah, blah. That's ideal. Often life is not ideal. You have a real situation and hecticness and schedules and whatever it happens to be, and you play the hand that you're dealt. So that's it. Uh, oh, I see Lyndon H. Yes, scaling is cool. Thanks to everything you do. My pleasure. So hopefully that helps. Enjoy, everybody. I'm going to go get my second cup of coffee and have a great day.